The multimedia group has officially filed a complaint with the governing New Patriotic Party for the unprovoked attack on one of its reporters last Friday at the party's headquarters. Condemning the act of assault against journalists in recent times, Managing Director of Multi TV, Santokh Singh, says an official complaint has also been lodged with the National Media Commission as well as the Ministry of Information to end the brutalities against journalists so they could work in peace. Santokh Singh spoke earlier on The Pulse.
We should not tolerate this anymore, because again and again we have seen many cases for the past few years, for the past months, that coming, and it's not only multimedia journalists but also other journalists from the other media houses also experiencing the same thing. So we totally condemn this, and we want this to end immediately. In the case of Latif, we have made an official complaint with the police, and police are investigating. I think we have reported ACP Eklu just now that saying that they are concluding the investigation, though I'm not surprised sort of with the outcome or statement they have made, but then we'll respect the processes. Due processes have to take place before we take the next action. And in the case of Charity Sechua, what we have done is that we have written official complaint to NPP, the leadership of NPP, condemning this, and then investigation to be done for the members who has done the brutality. And we have also written to the Information Minister, also for them to do the same thing, bring this to an end and do a proper investigation of what happened. And also we have written to National Media Commission as well, for them to also take an action. So these are the steps we are taking, and we'll see the outcome of it, because we acknowledge that we have to go through due processes to do it, and then once the outcome is done, then we'll see what's the next step, whether we are happy, we are satisfied, or we are not happy, then what is the next step that we're going to take.
Then that would
Well, the governing New Patriotic Party has meanwhile spoken out against the assault of the Adom FM reporter by a member, Hajia Fati. In a statement signed by Acting General Secretary John Buedu, it condemned the attack, adding that it respects and cherishes the role of the media as partners in development. I have the statement, a copy of the statement here with me. It says, the NPP has noted with concern alleged attack on a journalist by one of its reporters, Hajia Fati. We distance ourselves from the act and condemn it unreservedly. The party wishes to assure Ghanaian journalists that it respects and cherishes the role of the media as partners in development and does not condone any action intended to suppress press freedom. No journalist should feel intimidated and must continue to discharge his or her duties without fear. Though the New Patriotic Party has already begun an internal inquiry into the alleged incident, we will also cooperate with other agencies investigating same. And this statement is signed by the Acting General Secretary of New Patriotic Party, John Buedu. Now, Director at the Police Public Affairs Unit, ACP David Eklu, says the service is having difficulty in identifying those personnel of the service who brutalized Latif at the headquarters over a month ago. He, however, says the outcome of investigations will be presented to the service by close of this week. He was speaking to Joy News' Hano Dame in the wake of continuous brutalities against staff of the multimedia group, in particular with the case of Adom FM Sechua being the latest.
I did my checks. I understand the case has been reported at the Nema police station. The victim, or the one who made the report, the lady, has been given a medical form and is yet to return the medical form. And she has also given a statement. They have also spoken to the one who allegedly assaulted her. The statement has been taken and the lady is on bail.
Okay, so
our role is to enforce the law. So when a crime like this is reported, we investigate and identify the perpetrator to face the law. But I think that all of us will have to look beyond this one and see how various stakeholders, political parties, media organizations, and other things can work together to reduce these attacks on journalists. I think we can all work together and look at the best way forward. We cannot continue like this. The investigations we've already indicated is in two parts. The criminal aspect is being handled by the cantonment police, And like any other person who reports the case to the police, Latif is entitled to a copy of the police report. So he can apply to the Cantonment Police Station through the Director General CID or the Inspector General Police for a copy of the police report on the status of the criminal case that he has lodged. In terms of the professional aspect, which is handled by our Internal Affairs Unit, we are expecting the report at this headquarters this week, and it will be looked at, and we'll look at the way forward. So we are working relentlessly, especially on the other aspect of the case. That is where the professional standard is looking at it.
Okay.
The public is entitled to it through the Director General CID, and then it is produced.
Say a maximum of a day or 2 days or 3 days?
I cannot give you a specific timeline, but when it comes, the police are bound to give you a copy of the report.
Okay, even before the report comes out, are we sure that at least what everybody wants to know is that the people who were involved, have they been identified with regards to the police who beat Latif?
I would not want to jump the gun, but I know that as at the time I spoke to PIPs, they were having difficulties in getting identified the exact officer, but let's wait for the full report.
Okay.
But we are all interested in getting to the bottom of this case and clearing it out of our books.
And where the incident happened, is there a CCTV camera there for the police to at least use for their investigation?
Those are the factors that the investigators will look at, so let's wait for the report.
In other news, pressure group Kumasi Youth Association says it has relaxed an ultimatum issued to the founder of pro-NPP think tank, the Dankwa Institute, following a meeting between President Akufo-Addo and the Asante-Hene. The association, whose members are loyalists to the Asante throne, threatened to deal with Gabi Ochre-Darko and 3 others if they fail to apologize for conduct they said disrespected the Asante-Hene Otumfuo-NPP II. The group says the latest move is informed by an apology rendered by President Akufo-Addo at a meeting at the Menchia Palace in Kumasi. Labour firm Erastus Osare-Donko joins us with further detail about the meeting at Menchia and the reaction of the Kumasi Youth Association. Hello, Erastus. Now, this whole rumpus started off with reports that the Asante-Hene was outraged at attempts by some highly placed persons to pitch Achims against the Ashantis. Can you explain how President Akufo-Addo was roped into this so that he had to go apologize to the Asante-Hene?
Well, we are learning that the president decided to, as the head of the NPP for that matter, decided to use the occasion of the Grobohine's funeral to pass through Menchia and to speak with Otumfuo on this. And we understand that both parties see the need for peace and what this can lead into. And so they have to have talks on this. And so that's what the explanation I'm getting from within sources.
Now, what have you been able to glean from this meeting, especially the resolutions reached? Because to a hearing, the Kumasi Youth Association now says that the president actually apologized.
Exactly, and that's something that we are also gathering. In fact, I got that information from several sources. The Kumasi Youth Association themselves are saying that, yes, they have information to that effect, and they represent a certain section of the chiefs at Menchia, and so they have that information confirmed to them that indeed the president apologized, and they are also picking information that it's possible that the other names mentioned by Otumfuo will come to Menchia to apologize. That is what we are also getting from our sources within Menchia. But just this evening, I'm learning that some government operatives say that indeed the president did not apologize. And I ran that with my sources, and they are demanding to know who issued that statement that the president did not apologize. They want to know.
Now, what does the Youth Association mean by a relaxation of the ultimatum to Gabi Ochre-Darko and others?
Well, they were saying that based on that information they got from the meeting, that the president himself apologized. They feel that since it's coming from the leader of the land, they feel that he has respected Menchia and that they are happy with that decision, and so they are relaxing their ultimatum pending events that will occur in the coming days.
All right, thank you very much, Erastus Asare Donko, with Love from our sister station. Now, the Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Director General of the Bureau of National Investigations, and 4 others were on Tuesday spared jail terms after an Accra High Court cleared them of the charge of contempt. Lawyers for the Osu Traditional Council had prayed the court to hand the 7 persons prison terms for disobeying the orders of the High Court, asking they stay away from the 172-acre parcel of land which is the subject of dispute between the Traditional Council and the Achimota school. There is more in the following report.
The Traditional Council and school has for years engaged in a legal banter over who is the rightful owner of the land. The contempt proceedings were initiated after the council had claimed a court order had been disobeyed. While lawyers of the top security officials had denied knowledge of the order, the legal team for the Old Achimotans Association had also argued they were not ordered by any court to stay away from the land. High Court Judge Justice Kweku Akabuafu ruled the top officials could not be found guilty of contempt since they were not served the order. For the president of the Old Achimotans Association, Professor Ernest Aite, and headmistress of the school, the court held that it lacks jurisdiction since the supposed order served on them was from the Court of Appeal. A cost of 3,000 cedis was awarded in favor of the association and headmistress of the school. President of the Old Achimotans Association, Professor Ernest Aite, told pressmen the school expects the state to step in to protect land belonging to the school.
There's nobody involved in what we are doing that is doing for personal gain. We are doing it because it is for the school. It's for a public school. So if the state will not defend the school, then individuals who have benefited from the school should take on that responsibility. So I hope that the state will come to our aid. I hope that the state will take the responsibility of protecting its assets. It's not for individuals like me or others to be doing that. It's the responsibility of the state of Ghana. The school belongs to Ghana, you see. And so Ghana should set up and protect its school. That's all. I mean, we are relieved. We are relieved that there are many bigger things that should follow. This is only a temporary situation. So getting the court ruling, the dismissal, is the first step, where we appreciate it very much. But that shouldn't stop us from pursuing what is right, what's just, and what is lawful.
It's not clear how soon the call by the school will be heeded.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin. The businessman Alfred Woyome has questioned the impartiality of justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana as he opens his case against the state at the African Court on Human and People's Rights. Also in the bulletin, Board of Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company suspend chief executive over recent happenings in the state-owned enterprise. We'll be back with those details. Stay tuned. Businessman Alfred Woyome on Tuesday questioned the impartiality of justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana when he opened his case against the state at the African Court on Human and People's Rights. The businessman is challenging a 2014 decision by the Supreme Court of Ghana ordering that he pays the state an amount of 51 million cedis handed him as judgment debt. Lead counsel for Mr. Woyome, Otumfuo-NPP, told the regional court his fundamental human rights have been abused. Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame, however, urged the regional court to dismiss the case against Ghana. There is more in the following report.
Parties to the case were each handed an hour to make their opening statements. The businessman's legal team was led by Kweku Otumfuo-NPP, who accused the Republic of Ghana of violating its human rights. He then took on justices of the Supreme Court, who ruled that Mr. Woyome pays back the 51.2 million cedis to the state. Supreme Court of Ghana Judge Justice Jones Doche, who presided over that case, was not spared.
Each case must be treated on its own merits to ascertain the reasonableness of time. So it is our contention, or the applicant's contention, that he has been able to demonstrate a good and compelling reason why there was some delay in bringing the matter before the commission. And in the interest of fairness and justice, this court must listen to the applicant.
Deputy AG Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, however, disagreed with this view. He urged the court to throw out the case.
Because the record will show that even after the Supreme Court gave judgment, which the applicant complains of in 2014, the High Court in 2015 gave a judgment acquitting and discharging the applicant of criminal charges in respect of the same set of facts. So our respectful submission is that indeed the courts of Ghana exercise their jurisdictions depending on the circumstances relating to the facts that have been adduced before the court. Indeed, the Supreme Court exercised a specific jurisdiction, which is a constitutional jurisdiction. The review was also in respect of that specific constitutional jurisdiction. The High Court, when it was acquitting and discharging the applicant in 2015, even after the Supreme Court had ruled against the applicant, was exercising a criminal jurisdiction. But also the fact of the Supreme Court having given a judgment in 2014, before the High Court also determined the criminal matter in 2015, did not in any way influence the High Court at all. Neither did it lead the High Court to also ruling in favor of the state. The state lost that matter. The applicant was acquitted and discharged. Indeed, the state appealed to the Court of Appeal against the judgment of the High Court. But also the Court of Appeal again dismissed the appeal by the state, ruling in favor of the applicant.
Now, Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo has stated that a strong, effective and quality judiciary is largely dependent on the quality of staff available to it, which also requires serious attention to the men and women whose duty it is to man the oil the wheels of justice. According to the Chief Justice, judicial independence can be achieved if its members are disciplined. She made the statement at the 6th Triennial Conference of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana in Rafiq Salam reports.
The 6th Triennial Delegates Conference of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAC, was themed Deepening the Integrity of the Judicial Service, the Role of JUSAC. The 3-day conference brought together delegates from all 10 regions in the country. Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo, in a speech read on her behalf by the Supervising High Court Judge, Justice Kwesi Boakye, indicated that a strong, effective and quality judiciary is largely dependent on the quality of staff available to it. This, he said, requires serious attention to the men and women whose duty it is to man and oil the wheels of justice. The Chief Justice also stated that judicial calling is meaningless without integrity, as they are always called upon to decide and manage conflicts that characterize human interactions.
Our commitment to integrity must be inflexible, inviolable, and non-negotiable. We must seek at all times to be guided by the values of honesty, fairness, and equality. We must not, in the course of our duties, be influenced by anything other than the merits of the issues before us. We must be blind to the tribe, the politics, social standing, or wealth of the citizens that we serve.
Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo conceded that the staff of the Judicial Service and the Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana were working under strenuous conditions, but was quick to urge them to keep to the highest standard of ethics and integrity. National President of the JUSAC, Alex Nati, expressed concern over the poor working condition of the members of the judiciary and the judicial service, parrying the blame on the attitude of the state towards their conditions of service.
Today, in the history of Ghana, the judiciary and the judicial service are the least resource among the three organs of government, as if it is an inferior among the other two. It is sad to note that the judicial service is so much under-resourced that even restoration of broken air conditions in our offices, replacement of broken doors, provision of basic stationery, computer accessories such as even mouse. Our surprise and disappointment is the poor attitude of the state towards determination of our conditions of service. This, in our view, is a threat to our democracy, and we call upon the state to rise up to the occasion.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Joy News is learning the board of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company has resolved at a meeting on Tuesday to suspend the company's chief executive, Frances Asiam. The decision by the board is said to have been occasioned by some happenings in the company and which have drawn a wedge between it and the CEO. The standoff is said to have been partly responsible for the shutdown of the company on Tuesday on the orders of the chief executive. Manasseh Azuriah-Winnie has more.
Customers who went to buy cylinders and accessories or refill gas at the company's Spintex Road head office were told operations had been suspended. Security personnel at the company could not say why they were not working or when they would resume. Joy News has learned the board of directors had an emergency meeting at the premises at 2 p.m., but which the CEO wanted held elsewhere. Some board members told Joy News they were informed the CEO had caused the company to be locked. Meanwhile, documents available to Joy News suggest a feud between the board and the CEO. The board had queried Madame Asiam, and she indicated she would respond to the substantive issues at the board meeting. The board was also to discuss a petition by the finance manager, Julius Opunia-Samoa, who was sacked by the CEO. Joy News has learned the board went ahead with the meeting at a different location, but we are yet to get the outcome since the query to Madame Frances Asiam was on the agenda.
Right, so we're learning that that meeting that was held by the board actually happened, and it is the outcome of the meeting, or it was at that meeting that the board decided that Frances Asiam, the chief executive, has been suspended. When we get additional detail, we will bring that to you. We're taking a break at this point to bring you business news, but still ahead in the bulletin, we have a few stories that I'd like to tell you about before we bring them to you. A suspected armed robber was on Monday killed in Tema after he and 3 other gunmen engaged the police in a shootout after a robbery in the city. Now, the leadership of Parliament has assured it will ensure passage of the Right to Information Bill before the end of the year. That's a new deadline we're getting from Parliament. And NGO WaterAid Ghana is embarking on a campaign to get health facilities in Ghana, especially in rural areas, to adopt good hygiene practices and promote same in the community where they operate.
Hello, good evening to you. Time now for business. The Danish International Development Agency, DENIDA, says it is refocusing its development strategy on building the capacity of Ghana Revenue Authority to help improve revenue generation. This was made known at the handing over ceremony of 15 pickups from the development agenda to the GRA. There's more in the following report.
According to DENIDA, the handing over of 15 pickups is in line with the agency's pledge to boost capacity building and the revenue collection agenda of the GRA. Speaking at the handing over ceremony, Danish ambassador to Ghana revealed that the agency will closely engage the GRA on best ways to meeting their revenue targets.
We have shown flexibility in our approach, and we have concluded that capacity building, focusing just on training, study tours, and on-the-job support without further capacitating the relevant GRA units could not take us far enough. Therefore, we also purchased various equipment, including IT equipment and vehicles based on previous gap analysis undertaken. The provision of this equipment is expected to boost the capacity of the various GRA units in carrying out their functions.
On his part, Commissioner General of the GRA, Kofi Nti, revealed that the presentation will further enhance the operations of the authority in terms of revenue mobilization. According to him, the move will also assist in the clampdown against infiltration of prohibited goods.
It is a great joy for the management and staff of the Ghana Revenue Authority to be with you today for the handing over of 15 new pickups and 3 working dogs to the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. I'm also reliably informed that the NIDA will be further donating to the Customs Division 6 saloon cars in the next month. First part of the package earmarked for the Customs Division under the Tax and Development Program being spearheaded by the NIDA. The NIDA has been of tremendous support to the Ghana Revenue Authority since 2015. Today's presentation will further enhance our operations in revenue mobilization, as well as protecting the entire nation against infiltration of prohibited goods. You will all agree with me that the performance of GRA is critical to the economic and social development of Ghana. In this regard, the Danish government has been of immense support in helping move Ghana forward. To our cherished development partners, it is our hope that this good relationship will continue to grow.
The event also saw a display by the K9 unit, a dog academy, which is one of the projects the NIDA intends to undertake to assist the Customs Division in inspecting of vehicles, identifying packages and goods and services, as well as the general patrol duties.
Now, with about 2 days to go, participants of the Cosmos Innovation Center Agrotech Challenge have been making last-minute adjustments and fine-tuning their business plans. The contestants will be pitching their innovative ideas, seeking to provide solutions to challenges in the agribusiness sector to a team of experts. Now, Joy News' Adelaide Arthur has been with the groups as they prepare for the first competitive pitching.
It's been a long road for participants of the Cosmos Innovation Center Agrotech Challenge. Over the past 6 months, the young entrepreneurs have embarked on market research tours and also gone through intensive capacity and team building trainings to equip them with the requisite skill to develop innovative technology-based ideas that seek to address challenges in the agribusiness sector. As the agri-techies were exposed to the various problems facing the agriculture value chain, many ideas came to mind, some of them very interesting.
I had this fantasy idea as well that we have rice cooker, so we could also have stew cooker. That's like you have the stew cooker will have compartments, you put your vegetable here, your oil here, and it will be in number forms, so I could set it up and then go to work. When I'm about to get home, 30 minutes, I send a text message, then it starts working like one oil goes in, pepper goes in, onion goes in, like at intervals. Maybe you set everything, then it gets ready. That is a whole invention. And again, I kicked it out. Like I said, the ideas keep coming, you keep validating some, you keep clearing some. So that was cleared.
Now, after forming permanent groups, the agri-techies are preparing to pitch their business ideas to an ideation team made up of experts from the agribusiness industry and academia.
Input dealers or the farmer after harvest pay a little commission on the produce that you are sold on our platform.
This is the first of 3 competitive pitching events, and participants are aware they must make an impact if they want to proceed to the next stage of the competition, and so they've been practicing hard.
It was a very interactive one, and they were very honest with us. The fact that we didn't practice properly, we should have practiced within 5 minutes and gotten used to that, and we didn't do that. So we couldn't give out our vital information over there. And thank God this is not the main pitch. If not, it would have landed us into deep trouble.
All the panel were happy with our project. However, we need to do more research in terms of the crowdfunding to crowdsource to fund our project. So they've given us ideas and they've given us ways of going about it. So we hope that in the next pitch we'll do much improved presentation.
The 2 previous seasons of the Agrotech Challenge were successful, and the director of the Cosmos Innovation Center, George Sapon, says the expectation for this cohort is high.
The quality and caliber of people who are applying continue to build. The application is across all the 10 regions of Ghana, and their backgrounds is across all disciplines. And some are engineers, some had degrees in agriculture, some have in finance. So it's the diversity that we bring, and also even on the gender level, of the 6 companies that we have out there, about 4 of them actually have their CEOs being females.
This time round, the number of businesses to be invested in could increase, presenting great opportunities for more startups to get seed funding from the Cosmos Innovation Center and its partners. Adelaide Arthur, Joy News, Accra.
And away from that, former staff of defunct UT and Capital banks has disclosed to Joy Business they will present a petition to the president over issues regarding their unpaid salaries and exit packages they are entitled to. According to them, the receiver of the 2 banks, PricewaterhouseCoopers, promised to pay them outstanding entitlements a few months ago when engaged by the mother union. The group held a press conference in Accra this morning. Ebenezer Sabute was there and filed this report.
The Bank of Ghana directed the PricewaterhouseCoopers to ensure that all entitlements to former staff of UT and Capital banks were paid following the decision to put the 2 banks on receivership. However, 8 months after the demands of the 2 banks' former staff are yet to receive what is due them financially. To this end, the about 150 members of the group have vowed to seek the intervention of the president. Spokesperson of the group, Raymond Adai Danko, has been speaking with Joy Business.
Percentage was agreed on times the number of years that you've worked. Okay. And this was something that was agreed as at last year. Now, 8 months down the lane, nothing has been done about it.
So what is the next line of action?
We believe we just want first of all to uplift to government, and we believe it's a listening government. So therefore we expect something comes out of it. If not, then we'll reconvene again for the next action. But in the meantime, we intend to petition the president.
And when are we going to see this petition to the president?
Very soon.
How soon? Because this issue has come up since last year. Your S-base has not been paid since last year. You are still here saying soon. How soon?
Hopefully it should be this week.
And what exactly are you asking the president to do?
It's been outlined in the press statement, as you were all witness to it. So we're asking for discounts on our loans and then early payment of our exit package.
Another member of the group, Delphina Johnson, also poured out her frustrations on the matter.
We've been at home. Some of us are jobless. We don't have jobs. So you can imagine you were used to the fact that every month you had an income. But 8 months down the line, nothing has been coming. So the question is, how are we surviving? Ghana, the economy is not easy, you understand. So if no money is coming in, how are we taking care of our children? If you are married, your spouse, your children, all these people, how are you taking care of them? We are appealing to government to come in and give us what is due us with regards to our exit pay, encashment of our outstanding leave days, and discounts on our loans. That's all we are appealing for.
The group, however, believes that the action by government to protect depositors' funds and to ensure that no customer deposit is affected is fundamental to the success of Ghana's banking industry.
And finally, in business, visiting IMF Africa boss Selassie Abebi says the IMF is optimistic about a solid economic outlook despite reducing Ghana's growth estimates marginally. The IMF, in its forecast for Ghana, projected about 6% for Ghana, coming after a more than 8% growth last year.
One positive news is that the region's economies are beginning to recover from the difficulties of recent years in the wake of the commodity price crisis. So we've seen growth, was around 2.8% last year, and that's set to accelerate to around 3.5% or so in 2018. About 2/3 of the countries in the region are seeing higher growth this year than it was last year. So the economies in the region generally are recovering well. So that's a very good part of the news. However, what we're also seeing is some challenges. First, the recovery in growth is not throughout the region. So there remain quite a few countries where, in per capita terms, growth remains very weak or even negative. So that's one concern. Second also is that what we've seen is following the decline in commodity prices in 2015-16, a number of countries, many countries were hit significantly by that episode. And in those countries in particular, we've seen an increase in levels of public debt. It gives rise for concern. But we remain very optimistic about the region's outlook going forward, subject to the difficulties that have arisen at the moment being addressed. We think growth should recover over the medium term.
And that's all we have for you by way of business. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We are free.
The Ministry of Education, Woyome, is cautioning its staff and officers to desist from hiding behind academic freedom and faceless entities to tarnish the image of the university. It described as one-sided and unjustified recent reports by the local chapter of Amnesty International suggesting there are human rights abuses of some officers and staff of the university. At a news conference on Tuesday, the university explained all its dealings have been done in accordance with the university statutes and cannot be deemed as abuses. Acting Vice-Chancellor Reverend Professor Anthony Afol-Broni addressed the news conference. Richard Kojunyako has more.
The University of Education, Woyome, has dismissed the report by the local chapter of Amnesty International that authorities of the university are abusing some officers and staff of the university. The acting Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Woyome, Reverend Professor Afol-Broni, describes at a news conference on Tuesday Amnesty International's accusations leveled against the university as one-sided, mischievous, and actuated by malice.
Those who are peddling lies of human rights abuses are individuals who have decided that the rules and regulations of the university should only be applied if they serve their interests and causes. UEW intends to send a petition and protest to Amnesty International on this unethical behavior by their local chapter in Ghana. If Amnesty International Ghana has indeed been compiling this report since 2017, we can say with all certainty that our version, the version of the university management, the official version of the stories they are compiling, including the one that it lay before the public during the news conference, has not been included. Why would Amnesty International Ghana engage in such miserable generalities and fail to give direct evidence of specific individuals who have found themselves in any such situation without due process, if indeed any of such cases exists?
5 names came up at the news conference, 2 who the university believes have links with Amnesty International and are behind the false publications. Dr. Samuel Otumfuo-NPP, who has been dismissed for some alleged acts contrary to the university statutes, Dr. Achimota, who the university says has willingly vacated his post, and Professor Avia Nso, who heads the university's language school at Ejumako. The acting vice-chancellor says such persons were dealt with within the ambit of the university statutes.
Dr. Samuel Otumfuo-NPP has gone to court over his dismissal, and so we shall not discuss a matter that is before a court of competent jurisdiction. Professor Avia Nso has openly asked his staff and faculty members to resist this administration. Professor Avia Nso has had meetings with students at which members of staff were present. He has urged and he has incited students to rebel against this administration. In all of these, Professor Avia Nso was never restrained and still finds himself still at post. Is this an example of the culture of silence which Amnesty International is seeking to unjustifiably project?
Richard Kwejenyako, Joy News, Winneba.
Now, some lecturers join you spoke with at the university are urging all those interested in its well-being to seek first-hand information about the university before making utterances. According to them, such utterances further polarize the academic environment.
I want to place on record that Professor George Oduro, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of University of Cape Coast, is my personal friend and a darling. And I wish to say that his comments about issues on University of Education campus were not premised on informed information, and that I'm rather advising him to show interest in the university, and if he has any genuine interest in the university, he should come for consultation, get the information before going public, than to make such comments that will go a long way to create or to polarize the university.
We need to understand issues, and issues are both personal and general. Personal and general in the sense that if you look at the person and you think the person doesn't befit what he is, that is a personal issue. Official is, even if the person doesn't befit a status and the person is asked to govern a place, you have no choice. Unfortunately, a colleague professor from UCC, the Pro-VC, his comments actually came as, I would say, as unfortunate, because he did not do his research, he didn't do his homework, he didn't know what was happening, and based on hearsay, he made those comments.
A suspected armed robber was on Monday killed in Tema after he and 3 other gunmen engaged the police in a shootout after a robbery in the city. The armed men were said to have robbed a lotto operator of an undisclosed amount and other belongings at Community 1. The police said they then tracked the 4 armed men to a guest house at Gulf City where they were lodging. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in the following report.
The Tema Region Police Commander, DCOP Nana Asomahene, tells Joy News the suspected robbers opened fire when the police confronted them at the guest house.
The armed men managed to take away some unspecified amount of money and 5 mobile phones and an iPad. We quickly put our intelligence together and we managed to track the robbers to Gulf City, to a certain guest house there. We closed in on them, and on seeing the police, they opened fire on the police. The police returned fire. One was fatally wounded. The others managed to escape. We were able to arrest the wounded man. Right now, we sent him to the police hospital. And we are vigorously pursuing the others who have escaped.
Meanwhile, 3 other persons, including 2 receptionists at the guest house, have been picked up to assist the police in investigations.
It looks as if some hotel operators, guest house operators, are supporting the criminals. In this particular instance, the front desk officers indicated that this man we are looking for, in fact, those people, the man has been there for about 31 days, different 1, 2, 3 days, not continuous. And any time we enter that hotel, guest house, the name we use is stranger. No ID card, no proper telephone number on it. So I've picked the 2 front desk officers, and they're not in my custody. We are going to interrogate them, and we'll definitely refer them to tourist board for them to help us for the next action against the guest house.
He assured the police will continue to fight and prevent crime to make Tema region safe. Kwame Yanka's report for Joy News.
The leadership in Parliament has assured it will ensure passage of the Right to Information Bill before the end of the year. Majority Leader Achimota made the pledge at a stakeholders forum on the bill, which has suffered several delays spanning 2 decades. Efwa Evans Chinri reports leadership of both the majority and minority sides promised the bill will be prioritized when the MPs return from recess.
The bill, which is currently at the consideration stage, is expected to be discussed clause by clause with all concerns debated and voted upon. The rationale for the bill is to guarantee the right to access official information held by public and private entities which perform public functions with public funds. Ranking member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee in Parliament, Inusuf Hussaini, says the bill must be passed sooner than later.
We will reconvene on the 15th or so of May. In fact, tomorrow we will be at Kofredua to take the bill through a clause-by-clause consideration. And then when Parliament reconvenes in May, middle of May, we will lay the report. The second reading will be done, and then we'll go immediately into consideration. And so, hopefully, in this sitting, we should be able to pass into law.
Head of the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative Ghana, Mina Mensah, says some aspect of the bill must be looked at again.
This is an access to information law. The law is supposed to give people access. It's a human right. Now, when we look at our law, except for the definitions, you see that it begins with exemptions. Information from cabinet is exempt. Information from the vice president's office is exempt. But this is a law that is supposed to give us access. So in my view, or in the view of the coalition and the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, it shouldn't start with exemptions. Number 2, the principle is that exemptions should be very narrow. The principle is that it is a right. In fact, all information should be made available, subject to certain limitations. So the limitation should be very narrow, not as broad as they are in our bill. If you look at the bill, we can count almost 64 exemptions, and we think that the way they are phrased, they are too broad.
NGO WaterAid Ghana is embarking on a campaign to get health facilities in the country, especially in rural areas, to adopt good hygiene practices and promote same in the communities where they operate. The NGO wants the health centers to, as part of the initiative, have facilities where patients and clients can wash their hands when they visit, as well as a decent place of convenience. The NGO is convinced the adoption of the campaign could get Ghanaians to practice better hygiene and significantly minimize deaths from diarrheal diseases identified as the second most deadly killer of the 6 killer diseases. The NGO has been speaking on their plans at a media briefing. Hano Dame has more in the following report.
The Water, Sanitation and Hygiene WASH program was launched in Ghana in 2011 to increase potable water access to communities and also improve on sanitation. It was to imbibe a culture of hand washing and the maintenance of good hygienic practices as a means of avoiding contracting diseases. This has, however, not been practicable as many educational and health facilities have not made adequate provisions for the implementation of these. NGO WaterAid says it intends to change the trend after realizing the adverse effects of not practicing these health activities, especially amongst children. Head of People at WaterAid, Antoinette Abba Shaw Agawe, says Ghana can only achieve the SDGs 6 goals if attention is given to providing clean water to all.
How we can talk about all the behavioral change issues that mothers should know, how we can incorporate things like hand washing and disposal of, fecal matter, that is having facilities where they can, and the distance of that from the facility.
According to Head of Policy, Advocacy and Campaign at WaterAid, George York, health facilities must invest in water, sanitation and hygiene to save lives, especially children.
Our health facilities don't have wash activities. And that's why nobody should tell you that when you we can go to a hospital even in Accra here where there is no wash facility. There's no toilet for even the people who are visiting. People sleep outside. We know all these things. And we also want to see that every health facility in Ghana have access to basic water, sanitation and hygiene facilities in the country.
WaterAid is urging Ghana to combine actions on health, nutrition, water, sanitation and hygiene to help lift the country out of poverty, especially because stunted growth, malnutrition and death-related diseases among children are preventable. For Joy News, my name is Hannah Odame.
Many teenage girls at the Dumasi in the Boise municipality of the Ashanti region are either nursing or expectant mothers. It means they would have to drop out of school instead of staying on to build a future for themselves and the children they are giving birth to. Parents, unfortunately, are said to appear helpless as men lure their female children into sex for money. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin reports.
17-year-old Joyce Boydu has strange explanation to her 8-month pregnancy.
My parents don't take care of me.
Joyce cannot remember how many times she had sex with a man. She, however, says she did it in order to get money for upkeep.
My father does not give me money anymore, and my mother too can't afford. That is why I decided to go in for a boyfriend.
Many of teenagers in the community are said to be sexually active. Some have at least a child by the time they turn 18. They hardly can go back to school. Why are you pregnant?
Money is hard to come by, and education isn't that easy. That's why I went in for a boyfriend who gave me money to continue my education, and I ended up becoming pregnant. He gave me 5 cedis every day.
That was 22-year-old Cecilia Ochri, who is also 8 months pregnant. She is among many girls who claim their parents cannot provide their needs.
It's because of food and money. That's why.
How much money are you talking about?
It's not every day that your mother will get money or your father will get money for you to buy something like panties and clothes. You must get your own and buy. That's why.
So that was why you gave yourself out to him?
Okay, yes.
So how is the mood now? How do you feel? You are now pregnant. How old is your pregnancy? How do you feel?
8 months. I'm 8 months. And I feel something pains in my body.
8 months?
Yes.
Have you regretted?
No.
34-year-old Kofi Owusu is married.
Sometimes you just remember about, you see the girls, then we condemn them, we take them out. And we don't expect that pregnancy will come, but due to unprotecting it, and then it comes. So it's not our problem for us to, we haven't decided to pregnate them, but due to we are sitting down, we don't have anything to do. We are not doing anything.
But if you are not doing anything, does it mean that you should go after somebody's daughter?
Oh, we did not plan to go and just pregnant them, but due to maybe even for me to buy condom to protect myself, I can't get money to do that. Or for me to buy any contraceptive for the lady to use, because I don't have enough money on me, I can't provide. So it's a feeling.
Even girls below the ages of 15 are pregnant here, and the situation boils down to poverty and broken homes. This has raised many concerns among leadership. Queen Mother of Odumasi, Nana Kwatema Ademu II, is disgusted about a situation she says is getting out of hand.
It hurts so much to see these teenagers getting pregnant. Some are 14 years, 15 and 16 years.
With sexual interaction happening even before girls turn 15, the number of unwanted pregnancy is on the rise. It is a time parents matter most to their female children, teach them about sex and sexuality to protect them against promiscuity. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
Sorry about that. Traders at Abosokan Spare Parts Hub here in Accra are requesting fresh incentives to boost their businesses after the much talked about abolition of taxes on their goods failed to meet the expectations. The Finance Minister in the 2017 budget announced the scrapping of the special import levy as well as import duties on spare parts. 16 months on, however, the dealers say whatever benefits accrued to them have been undone by the new paperless clearing procedures introduced at the ports. Komla Dome has more.
Mr. Speaker, to all of our friends in Abosokan, we will abolish duty on the importation of spare parts.
13 months ago, the Abosokan spare parts market was thrown into a wild frenzy after government announced it had removed and slashed some taxes on various goods and services. Today, the situation has changed. In a shop half the size of a volleyball court, 38-year-old Yao Opoku-Amankwa and his attendant are rearranging some car parts which include headlights, windshields and doors of various types of cars. He doesn't look happy today. Amankwa hasn't seen the impact of a tax reduction on spare parts he sells here at Abosokan Market.
It has had a very little impact on our activity as a business because although they have abolished the import duties and other small taxes that were on our product, but the problem we are facing now is with the customs. Because when you bring in your goods and you present invoices to the customs, it is left with the customs to determine how much they will be given to you for you to pay.
Okay.
For instance, if I pay maybe $5 for this particular light.
Okay.
And I present the invoice to customs that I pay $5 for this item. Custom will tell me that either they will accept my $5 or they will tell me they think it costs more than $5.
Okay.
So maybe they can present maybe $15 as the value for this item.
Okay.
And that is causing a lot of problems for us.
Okay.
Because you know genuinely you bought this thing for $5. Custom is saying that you are paying, you bought it for $15. And you cannot explain.
For him, these interventions have not had any impact on their businesses because of a valuation process spare parts importers go through at the ports.
If government would want us to feel the impact of the taxes that they have removed, then we should be able to pay our duties in cedi devaluation. They should value all the commodities in cedis. Because if I know that I buy one of these lights and I come and government is charging me 10 cedis, I have 1,000 pieces of this. I know how much I'm going to pay. So nobody is going to determine how much I should pay.
Okay.
It should be a thing that every business woman or man should know how much he or she is paying for the items that he brings, but not custom officers alone.
For nearly 1 hour of our stay in his shop, not one client pulled up to make a purchase until our departure. And Yao Mankwa confirms even though some prices have gone down marginally, sales are still low.
But my appeal to government is the duty that they value our commodities in dollar is not helping businesses. At least they should let us pay or value all the commodities in cedis. so that everybody will know how much he will be paying for his commodities.
People who come here to buy every day, when they come, what's the sense they get? Do they get the sense that things are relatively less expensive now, or?
Before, people were complaining, but now gradually things are coming down. We are reducing prices.
In February this year, government offered a 2% reduction in petroleum taxes following a 28% cumulative increase in fuel prices since 2017. But those have yet to reflect in transport costs, and Yamankwa is simply unenthused about it.
We have not seen much impact on the lives of the people when it comes to transportation. Transport fares has not been reduced and those stuff, although they have not increased it, as we know, but also they have not reduced it.
So do you have much more money in your pockets today than you had last year, last 2 years, for example?
Well,
what do you call disposable cash?
Disposable cash. Yes. It's like from that time up to today, it has been that normal trend. It has not been getting much money today than before.
Yao is just one of hundreds of spare parts dealers here at Abossey-Okai who expects the situation to change for the impact of a tax cut to be felt. An acting chairman of the Spare Parts Dealers Association, Clement Boateng, agrees.
We are yet to feel the impact, even though its implementation has taken place. When the implementation started, we all saw that when we go to the port and we clear goods, yes, the 10% duty was off. So it was quite a relief to us. But after the implementation, after I think 3 months down the line, we saw that we are beginning to pay a bit much higher of what we used to pay, irrespective of the 10% which was abolished. So then we drew the government attention to it. That is notably the custom division of GRA. Yeah, because we saw that they are now using some new benchmarks to do the valuation of our duties. And they started the implementation of the 10% abolishment of import duties. We also reduced our prices, yes, by between 10 to 15%. And even currently prices are still being reduced. For engines like Toyota Corolla, this Corolla engines, Corolla 2002 to 2005, which used to sell about 3,000 Ghana cedis, is now being sold at 2,500. We have reduced our prices, yes.
He says he spends a lot more money today on utilities and other needs.
Currently, I'm spending a little bit higher. Utilities and food for my family. I hope expenses will go down a little bit.
But hopes all this will change as government successfully implements the manifesto promises of industrializing. Komla Adom, Joy News, Abossey-Okai, Accra.
There have been some speculations of a change in name of the University of Ghana, Legon, by President Otumfuo-NPP. These have come in the wake of the President's speech at the launch of the university's endowment fund, where he mentioned it would be suitable to describe Joseph Boakye Dankwa, or JB Dankwa, Pan-Africanist and member of the Big Six, as the founder of the university.
Getting to agree with the establishment of a separate university for our country. How felicitous was that decision, and how greatly it has contributed to the growth of modern Ghana. It would be wholly appropriate, not at all far-fetched, to describe Joseph Boakye Dankwa as the founder of this university. A fact which on the 70th anniversary of its existence should be vividly recalled by all
Well, we have been speaking with some students of the University of Ghana to get their reaction to this comment by President Otumfuo-NPP. And in the headlines, the Multimedia Group Limited has filed an official complaint over recent attacks on its reporters. The governing New Patriotic Party has since issued a statement condemning the assault of multimedia journalists at its headquarters. The Kumasi Youth Association has relaxed an ultimatum issued against founder of the pro-NPP think tank, the Dankwa Institute, following what it says was an apology rendered by President Otumfuo-NPP at a meeting with Asante Hene at the Menchia Palace in Kumasi. The board of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company have suspended the chief executive over recent happenings in the state-owned enterprise. In business, the Nation International Development Agency needed to refocus development strategy on building capacity of the Ghana Revenue Authority to help improve revenue generation. Businessman Alfred Woyome questions impartiality of justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana as he opens his case against the state at the African Court on Human and People's Rights.